But the top story tonight, the Lok Sabha has passed a diluted version of the land acquisition bill. The government made 9 amendments to its bill, hoping to appease the opposition, but the centre refused to bring back the controversial consent clause or the social impact assessment, and this led to a furor in the Lok Sabha. Here are the amendments that have been moved by the government. Exemptions for social infrastructure projects in public-private partnership mode have been removed, so social infrastructure no longer falls in the exempt category. Land that will be acquired for industrial corridors will be limited to 1 kilometre on either side of the highways and railway lines, and compulsory employment to 1 member of a farming family that's selling its land will now be provided. So that's a new insertion that's been made. The centre will also put in place a hassle-free grievance redressal mechanism. This is another one of the amendments that has been moved. Now, Mohan, the former Solicitor General of India, joins us. Mr. Parasaran, appreciate you joining us. It was perhaps a foregone conclusion that this bill would have passed through the Lok Sabha floor test, given the kind of numbers that this government enjoys in the lower house of Parliament. But the Rajya Sabha, sir, is an entirely different matter. The ordinance lapses on the 5th of April. If this is not passed by the Rajya Sabha, will the government be forced to re-promulgate the ordinance?
See, if the bill is not, assuming it is not passed in the Rajya Sabha, then in terms of the constitution, the option that will be available to the government would be is that the President can actually seek to convene a joint session of both the houses of Parliament in terms of Article 108 of the Constitution. So we have
will it not have to be, Mr. Parasaran, sorry to interrupt you, but would it not have to be defeated in the Rajya Sabha before a joint session is called, sir?
Yeah, assuming it will definitely be brought to vote before the Rajya Sabha.
Okay, and so at this point in time, the strategy in the Rajya Sabha seems to be to try and elongate the process of bringing any matter to vote, as we've seen today with the MMDR bill, where the opposition in the Rajya Sabha has actually sought that the bill be sent back to a select panel. Given that, will the government be left with any choice but to re-promulgate, even though the land bill has now been passed by the Lok Sabha?
In the event, I think the government is unable to actually get any voting done before the Rajya Sabha, and as it had happened with regard to the MMDR bill, then actually they'll be in a limbo. Then in such an event, the only course that will be open to the government is to re-promulgate the ordinance.
Okay, can you hold on, Mr. Parasaran? I'm going to come back to you. We're also joined now by the constitutional expert, Mr. Subhash Kashyap. Mr. Kashyap, appreciate you joining us. That same question to you, sir. The government denied the opposition the right to try and move this bill to a parliamentary standing committee because the government said that the ordinance lapses on the 5th of April, and hence they had no intention of trying to re-promulgate the ordinance. But will the government now be left with no choice, given the fact that it's unlikely that this will go through the Rajya Sabha?
Well, the constitutional and procedural position is, now that the bill has been passed by Lok Sabha, it will be sent to the Rajya Sabha with a message, and then the Rajya Sabha is supposed to consider it. And the options before the Rajya Sabha are several. One, the Rajya Sabha may reject this bill in toto. Second, it may decide to refer it to the select committee, And third, that it may pass it with an amendment. If it is passed with one or several amendments, that goes back to Lok Sabha from Rajya Sabha. So right now it is very hypothetical. We do not exactly know what the Rajya Sabha will take. They will reject the bill, pass the bill, or pass it with amendments, etc. Now, if it is rejected, or it is not passed by the House for a period of 6 months, then joint sitting of the two houses can be thought of. The President can summon a joint sitting of the two houses. And of course, in the meantime, when the ordinance expires, they can re-promulgate the ordinance.
the strategy, Mr. Kashyap, at this point in time that the opposition seems to have adopted today is to try and send any matter that is coming to the Rajya Sabha and seek the demand for a select panel, as they are doing with the MMDR bill. If the Rajya Sabha were to seek that the land bill were to move towards a select panel, what then happens, sir?
The select committee, if it is, I said it is hypothetical at this stage, but they may change their or different political management. But supposing it is referred to select committee, then 6 months time, the government would have to wait for 6 months. And if no decision is taken during 6 months, then they can go and call for a joint sitting of the two houses.
Okay, so we are talking about a wait of about 6 months and, of course, a rejection of some sort by the Rajya Sabha before a joint session of Parliament can be called. Mr. Parasaran, let me come back to you, sir, because one of the other issues, the controversial issues where the government has not yielded any ground is on the issue of consent and on the issue of the social impact assessment. Now, the Rural Development Affairs Minister seemed to suggest in Parliament that the issue of an SIA or conducting an SIA could be left with the state governments. Now, given the fact that land is a state subject, they haven't moved this amendment, but how will this fit in or how will this align with what the government is saying?
See, the government, I think, has been quite firm with this aspect. But being a federal structure, I think the state governments could have been given a say when the lands acquired belonged to the state governments. But now it's a matter for the government. They have actually said what they wanted. That's the problem. Now I think the Rajya Sabha has to consider this aspect, and we'll see what happens, no?
Yes, we will have to see what happens. But Mr. Kashyap, let me come back to you, because it was a demand made by all opposition parties that this bill be sent back to a standing committee. The opposition also saying that the amendments moved by the government this morning, the opposition did not get enough time to discuss or debate those amendments. Do you believe that it would perhaps have been the right thing to do for this government to have sent this bill to a parliamentary standing committee?
Well, it is a matter for the politicians to decide. It is how they see their role in management is for them. That is the institutional or legal question.
It is a matter for politicians to decide. Mr. Kashyap, Mr. Parasaran, a quick last question to you before I let you go. Whatever happens, whatever acquisition takes place while the ordinance is in place, stands legal scrutiny. So at this point in time, the government at least is not in any danger of anything being reversed, because till at least the 5th of April, the ordinance stands.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
All right, Mr. Parasaran and Mr. Kashyap, we'll have to leave it there.